Let's go out to Amanda in New York City. What's up, Amanda?
Hi, guys. How are you? Thank you for taking my call.
Good. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm looking for a little bit of advice. I think my situation is a little unique, but trying to look for a little bit of color. Um, so I work full time at a law firm, and my boss posed the idea of applying to law school and inheriting the firm in the event that I was accepted. So I was recently accepted, and so now I'm trying to deal with payment of tuition. I'm also fortunate in that my boss is funding half of the tuition, and so it's my responsibility to fund the other half. My husband and I were in the middle of baby step 2 when I got my acceptance, and so we paused the baby steps to try to cash flow as much of law school as we could. But we do still have some student loan debt from my undergrad. And so I'm trying to deal with the guilt of the possibility of having to take on additional student loan debt while also still trying to balance what seems like a really great opportunity.
I don't think those things are mutually exclusive.
Okay.
Okay. It is a great opportunity. It's pretty cool. Your boss
Yeah.
clearly sees something in you and is willing to put his money where his mouth is, right?
Right.
There's
Yeah.
very few things more flattering than that. I think somebody telling you, you're my person and I'll spend the rest of my life with you is really flattering. And a boss that calls you in and says, I see so much in you, I want you to go get extra training and I'm willing to foot part of that bill. That's awesome. And
Right.
I was a dean of students at a law school for a long time. And the law school debt is crippling. And the panic and the anxiety and the frustration and the movements professionally that happens makes me tell you, do not go into debt. And it can still be a great opportunity and not the right time for this great opportunity. And if your boss says, well, it's now or never, then he's giving you a hint into his character in a way that you may not want to tether yourself to him for the next 4, 5, 10 years. If he says, absolutely understand, circle back to me, and you and your husband get really intense and save up the cash, because I think a law degree is one of the single greatest credentials you can have. I think it's a super valuable thing, and I'm in awe of people who go through that process. I just wouldn't borrow money to do it. And I know that's hard, what I'm saying. I know that.
Yeah, it's definitely like a hard pill to swallow, only because my husband and I are in our 30s, so I'm going back like a little bit later in general. And so
How much longer do you have left, Amanda?
Oh, she hadn't started yet.
I haven't started.
Oh, you haven't? Oh, I think
Yeah,
it's in the middle. I'm sorry.
So here's what I know.
I'm supposed to be starting in August.
Did you get into an Ivy League school?
No.
Okay.
No. I'm going to a local school. It is private. I was given a partial scholarship, so the entirety of the bill between the two of us is $30,000. He's paying for half of that, and I would be responsible for $15,000. My husband and I, after buckling down, cash flowed or saved up enough cash flow half of that, and so I would hypothetically be taking out a loan for the balance.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I just wouldn't do that. I'd rather say, one, go in and defer your admission, which I don't. Outside of an Ivy League school that's just got an incredible admissions pressure, I don't know a law school that wouldn't defer in this current climate. The tables have turned at most law schools where they're looking for students. When I was trying to go to law school back in the day, or I was thinking about it, it was very, very few seats and a lot of students, and that's flipped. And so you can go defer your admission for 1 year and tell your boss, man, I'm all in. I love this idea. It's just not financially feasible for us. My guess is he's going to say, what's it going to cost? And if you've got some skin in the game, he may meet that. Otherwise, he may say, cool, and say, we're going to make this work in the fall. My husband and I are going to save up a bunch of money, and we're going to go forward with it. And if he asks you, you can say, we just don't do debt in our house. And if he's got a visceral response that's negative to that, I think that gives you a long-term picture of who you're working for, quite honestly. Who's going to, and it's just, he's looking at one of your values and saying, well, that's stupid. I'm not, and I just don't know if he's going to do that. I don't think he's going to. I think he values you a lot.
Mm. And Amanda, do you, how does that hit you though? Waiting a year, just say all of that worked out, right? You're able to defer, save up the money, and have it to go in a year. What does that do to you?
I just don't know if within a year we would be able to save that amount of money, because over the course of it, I'm doing a part-time program because I would be working full-time and going to school part-time. And so it's 4 years versus 3. And I just can't see like saving what would be $40,000 in a year.
Yeah, but after that, I mean, you're talking about raises, you're talking about externships where you're going to get paid. I mean, there's all different ways, especially once you get out of your 1L a year. There's ways to get part-time job. I mean, there's ways to make this work with additional resources. You're really struggling to get through the first year and a half, if not 2 years. And then after that, the game changes quite a bit. How old are you?
We're 32. That's the other.
32.
That's the other addition.
So yeah. I told this story in my latest book here. My wife was talking to a couple of friends who were, I think they were 35, and both of them, they were all hanging out, and one of them said, "You know what? I really kicked myself. I should have gone to med school." And this person's spouse said, "Me too. Like, that's my dream to always go to med school, but we're 35 and we won't be actually out practicing medicine on our own until we're 42. And my wife, who's very, very wise, said, "That's not the question. The question is, or you're going to be 42. The question is, do you want to be doctors when you're 42 or not?" So I would tell you is, you're going to be 36. You're going to be 37. Do you want to be a lawyer when you're 37 or not a lawyer when you're 37? That's the real question. And if you want to be a lawyer when you're 37, take a year, work like crazy, have your husband pick up a second job, because this is a family shift. And you know as well as I do, law school's really hard on everybody, right? So that when I'm 37, I'm going to take the back 2/3 of my life and be an attorney and go help the least of these or do whatever we're doing with our law firm. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's real easy
difficult.
to get. It is. It's so hard. It's so hard, especially when it feels like I've got a deal that I've got to move on right this second or it all comes down.
Yeah.
If you're backed into a corner that way, I'd let the deal pass.
That's it. You never make really good decisions when you don't have a lot of options. And it's like, it's either now or never. You're going to make bad decisions in that.
That's right.
Yeah. So just like take a breath and I think it's going to be okay. I mean, I think it's going to force you to ask different questions and to maybe engage in conversations that are uncomfortable, but it's worth it to do it so that you don't put all this debt on you guys here in the next few months.
That's exactly right. I think you're going to end up in law school and you're going to do great things and you're not going to owe anybody anything. We'll be right back.